What's going on, everyone? It is Will Mitchell here. I'm sitting on the beach in beautiful Belize, and I'm gonna give you my top 8 things I've learned living in Belize. I've been here full time for over a decade. My family actually moved here when I was about 5 years old, so I have quite a bit of experience, and today I'm gonna share some of those lessons with you, starting with number 1, the currency in Belize. So in Belize, we have the Belize dollar, which is pegged 2 to 1 to the US dollar. Anywhere you go, like for example, I'm sitting at Toast right now. It's a great little beach bar. They accept US dollars or Belize dollars. So you can use US as well. And basically, if the price is in Belize, just divide it by 2, and that's gonna be what you pay in US. But yeah, US works anywhere, Belize dollars work anywhere. You can typically use your credit card unless you're in a remote area. And as far as tipping goes, the standard in Belize is usually around, Mondo, what would you say? 15 to 20% is a good tip? Yeah, that's a thumbs up. I'm sitting at the bar consulting here, so we get that question a lot. What should I tip? In my experience, 10 to 20%. Typically it lands around 15%. That's number 1. Number 2, we have language. So Belize is a very diverse country, but one of the things that surprises people more than anything is that it's an English-speaking country. So pretty much anywhere you go around the country, you're gonna be able to communicate in English. Also, there are several other languages which are worth mentioning because the cultural diversity of Belize is one of the things that really makes it beautiful. So those would include Garifuna, Mayan, there's several different dialects of Mayan, Spanish, Dutch, German from the Mennonite population that we have here. Am I missing any, Lelo? And of course, Creole, which is pretty much kind of like the standard language that you'll hear as well. But overall, English is the primary language, so really easy to move around Belize. That's number 2. So number 3, I get this question a lot as well. When is the rainy season? Obviously, being in Central America and the Caribbean, we do have a little bit of variance in our seasons. Overall, it's gonna be pretty much like what you're seeing right now, sunshine and rainbows, but we do have a rainy season, and that goes from June to November. The biggest part of that where you get the most rain is usually going to be in October. So just planning for those times. Now, you might have a home that's off grid where you have a rain catchment system for your water. If that's the case, you're going to get a lot of water in those months, and the other months you might get less water in the dry season. The other big factor is planning your trips and knowing when you want to be here. You might come half the time and spend the other half at home. It's important to know that that is also the slow season. So in those times, the island is going to be a lot less busy. Now you might prefer that. You might prefer being around in high season when there's more action going on, but there are a lot of things that coincide with those dates of June to November for the rainy season. That's number 3. Number 4, I want to talk about getting around Belize. I get so many messages of people thinking Belize is pretty much like a small town. The reality is, guys, Belize is a country. I feel like I've said this in dozens of videos before. So you are going to have a wide variety of different places you can go. And how do you navigate those places? Well, we've talked about the top places you might want to go. Right now we're in San Pedro, which is the #1 tourism destination. If you're going to one place in Belize and that's it, I recommend going to San Pedro. I also recommend extending your trip, or if you're living here, you're gonna get around a lot and go explore because it's one of the biggest benefits of being here. But to get to San Pedro, you fly into the Philip Goldson International Airport. Any air travel is gonna go there. Then from there, you can either take Tropic Air or Maya Air, which a one-way flight to the island is usually around 75 US, or you can take the water taxi, which ranges anywhere from 10 to 30, depending on season and other factors, which water taxi you're gonna use. So you would go to the water taxi port in Belize City, and then it's about an hour-and-a-half ride. When you're in San Pedro, and I'm gonna also talk about getting around the mainland after this, but when you're in San Pedro, golf cart rentals typically start around 35 US per day, and that is the primary mode of transportation here. Or if you're looking to just get a taxi ride from point A to point B somewhere in town, usually that's gonna run you around $10 to $20 US. When you're on the mainland now, let's talk about that, because there's actually a lot of cars on the mainland. If you're getting a car rental there, typically it's gonna start around 45, depending again on season, what type of car you get. And I can recommend car rental companies and any of that stuff. We'll put my email right there. But you can drive pretty much anywhere in the mainland. I do it all the time. It's very safe. We have some really nice highways here, and you can access Corzal in the north. You can go to Cayo in the west. You can go down south to Stan Creek or Toledo, hit Placencia, Punta Gorda, and all of these places have their own little variances. Or you can also usually fly in with the local domestic airline, Tropic or Maya, to get to those places. So that's how you get around And that's the next lesson that I learned living in Belize. So the next thing I want to talk about is the population of Belize, because some people think this is a huge country. They think the opposite, that it's a little country. The reality is we only have about 400,000 people living in the country of Belize. So there is a tremendous amount of room for growth. Most of the country, if you look at Google Earth and kind of do a little scan around Belize, you're going to see that it is pretty much all green, which actually ties into my number 5. And this is a really important thing I learned, which is about crime. And I've had a lot of people asking me about crime in Belize. So I want to really try to break this down super clean for you guys to get you a complete understanding of what I learned. So when you look at crime in Belize, approximately 90% of the violent crime in Belize takes place in the south side of Belize City and is gang related. So Belize City, I'm currently in Ambergris Caye. It's about 24 miles away from where I am. And most major tourist destinations or destinations you might go in the country of Belize are even further away from Belize City. Now the comparison I like to make, because when you look at only having 400,000 people, a very small sample size, it's very easy for the data to get skewed. So I like to say, look at a major city. I'll take Los Angeles, for example. You could say Compton is a more dangerous area and Beverly Hills is a less dangerous area. Now, when you're looking at that city, 14 miles is the separation between Compton and Beverly Hills. So we're actually on an island. It requires you getting on water, planes, something else. But my bigger point is anywhere you are, there are going to be more dangerous areas and there's going to be safer areas. Move with precaution, understand that overall the rest of Belize and really Belize City, I go around Belize City all the time, is safe as long as you're not doing, illegal activities or moving, extremely inebriated or just doing dumb stuff, to put it bluntly for you guys. That's number 5. Number 6, big talkers. This is a really interesting one that I want to talk about because I feel like I deal with hundreds of people looking to come to Belize almost every week. So I'm well versed in a lot of people that talk a big game. And what I would say to anyone looking to come to Belize is, don't come down thinking you're gonna, change the entire country or save Belize or do this. It's amazing for you to come down with your awesome ideas and implement them and be successful. And the reality is you can make it better. But I find a lot of people have this, they're gonna come down and they're gonna tell everyone about this plan and don't actually execute. Lay the bricks, make the change, have the impact, help the community, and then look back at it after and say, I actually did that. Instead of just, on the front end talking a huge game, because I know for a lot of locals on the island, it's like, you don't have your stripes yet. And this isn't a direct attack. I'm just trying to give you my number 6. All right, number 7, what you give off is what you get back. Kind of ties into number 6, but I find so often when you come down and you have a good energy and you treat people with respect and you move in a certain way, that energy is going to be reciprocated to you. And if you come down, and I've talked about this again in a lot of my videos, and you're demanding and you want this and you want the timeline and it's all this and that, me, you're going to get that back. So whatever energy you put out to the community here, whatever energy, if you're helping out with charitable donations or going to Saga and walking the dogs or whatever your thing is, and if you're patient with people and really integrate into the community, you are going to have the best time in Belize. And if you take the opposite route, well, it's going to be a more difficult uphill battle. Bringing me to my number 8, guys, really simply put, enjoy Belize. There's so much this country has to offer. Right now, it's a Tuesday, Lalo?
Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. I'm sitting on a picnic table on the beach, looking out at the reef back there, looking at Mondo. Maybe I'll have a drink, I don't know. I probably won't because I gotta get back to work, but enjoy Belize, guys. That's my number 8. Travel around, meet the people, experience the experiences, and pop into the RE/MAX office and give the RE/MAX team a hug. That's my top 8 things I learned moving to Belize over a decade ago. I love you all. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment. We'll see you in the next video and hopefully down here in paradise soon.